Let's take attendance and make sure we've got a quorum. Emily?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Jack? Here. Brad is here. Marta is gone, consistent with her notice she gave us. So we have a quorum. So with that, we can proceed. Shall we do the opening invocations and the pledges? Please stand, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you're gracious and loving, Heavenly Father. We thank you for the community we live in, the opportunity to serve that community through this mud activity. We pray for your presence tonight, that all that we do would be done orderly, would be done in service to our community, and would be done in an orderly fashion. We thank you for this time to serve. Guide us and direct us throughout this meeting. We pray these things in Christ's name. Amen. Yes, coming to a pledge to the sixth flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Going to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Yeah. We have a very full agenda, so let's jump right in. Any comments from the public?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Any requests for adjustments?
I don't have any.
Okay. Consent agenda. Before I ask for a second on the consent agenda, there's two items on here that we may want to pull out or may want to leave in. I just want to get some feeling from the group before we do something. Item 9 is, I guess, Brian, you lead that as far as the personal property. I don't know whether you guys had any discussion on that. And then item 11, last year, we brought that back at the following meeting, had that as a discussion item also. So it's pretty similar to last year. So I didn't know whether you're okay with those two items being in the consent agenda. Everybody,
I am. I mean, I've read through them and stuff.
okay. So do we have a proposal to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 7 through 12 or 5 through 12?
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. That takes down a big chunk. Having done that, Brian or Kim, did you have anything you wanted to say about your items?
Do not, well, actually, on the Water Smart application, what we'll do is after we complete the application and get it ready, we'll put a copy of that in the Google Drive so y'all can see that, because I know Emily, you had asked about that.
Last year though.
Yeah, so, but it's on my radar now to make sure that we put that out there so y'all can look at that. So as soon as we get that completed, we will put that in your folder so that you have access to it.
Oh, you have your normal stuff, right? So I think it's now financial report, item 13. Assume this is, right?
The audit. Yeah, audit, yeah.
You're all.
I'm on. John Knox, glad to be here. I'll start with an apology. I just was reviewing the draft and noted that I did not get TSI 8 on page 46 and 47 updated from the previous year. Is last year's information. I found that I did it on several MUDs, and that is 100% my fault because the information was provided to us and somehow I just didn't get it to the report. So it'll be updated for the final report. And we've got the right information. The directors are the same, but we have former directors on there, and I'm sure your director's fees are incorrect. Those are prior year numbers. So other than that, good year, good audit. No complaints. We provided Marlene with a management letter, which I believe didn't have any complaints, right? Other communication, a clean opinion on page 1 and 2. It's very long and lengthy, but that's what you pay us for. So here for any questions.
So I had a question follow from our prior discussion. Director reports, you got them all?
Sorry?
The director's confirmations that we sent in, did you get them all?
I think we've got,
Unless you've got a letter in front of you over there. I think Marta might be the only one that had the letter that wasn't received.
yeah,
We're missing one from 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
We received some out. There's been diligent work from Shelley and some people at our firm getting them all in, so we're doing good.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you guys for getting yours in, and I guess you can follow up when she gets back from her trip.
I will say, and you may remember, that was our first year to try and do it digitally. We found a few flaws. And it really was the last piece of our non-digital world for confirmations. And so we're going to improve on it. Next year will be hopefully more seamless and easier for the directors.
Whether you guys had any questions for John or comments? A lot of numbers. And this is just, maybe John can comment, but consistent with the WWA audit, which was also clean, was approved last week by the trustees. The numbers kind of were feed into that. So it all the buds.
I will say that first page I turn to whenever I'm looking at a report is page 3 in these financial highlights. And I think there's some good information there and very kind of executive level overview. And one number I always look at is that on the last bullet point, that your unrestricted, unassigned fund balance in your general fund is 72% of annual expenditures. So it's a good, healthy number.
I don't think we're going to have any discussion, Brad. It'll probably have to be a follow-on meeting because it's a lot of information to absorb.
Yeah, I mean, the agenda has it approving it. If you'd like to defer that, I guess we could. I don't know. I know these were online on Friday, and if you want more time,
I doubt there's anything in here that's going to be an issue. If there is, there'll be a follow-on discussion. I have no problem approving it, but.
Yeah, if I may, we usually ask, and Brian can, approval subject to any input from the directors, consultants, minor changes kind of thing,
like
like CSIA, which that's.
Yeah, it would be a motion to approve the audit subject to the comments maybe provided by directors, consultants, or staff.
So we have that as a motion. Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thanks, John. When you get the final, eventually you'll post something that says final.
Yes, it's due to the TCQ, February 13th. We usually get something to Brian's team, first week of February. And that's when we expect it. So give everybody a couple of weeks to look it over, and if they have any comments, questions, we can get that.
At this point, the only thing that would change are the 2 pages you referenced in the back.
I'm sorry?
The only thing that would change are those 2 pages in the rep back.
The only thing I'm aware of right now, yeah, is the numbers on the direct information, yeah.
Are you going to be updating those in your file? Are you going to be updating those in our file? So we can
Your-
see just those last 2 pages?
Oh, they'll be updated for the final. Are you?
Well, just so we can see it if we're giving some time to review.
Oh, sure,
That's
sure.
gonna be in
Yeah, we can, I'll get, once we get the finals, or that information updated, in fact, I can do that next week. I can, send it over to Shelley, and she can distribute it to the board so they can see an updated copy.
This next one, item 14, doesn't have a name on it. Is that
Yeah,
yours?
I can handle that one. So exemptions from taxation, y'all all gone through this a few times now. So we put this on January agendas for discussion and action if the board would like. If you want, more time to think about it or request additional information from the financial advisor and tax assessor collector, we can roll it. The action until February. As a reminder, the exemptions that you adopt at this time will be applied to the tax rate that you will adopt in the fall. So September. So sometimes that can be a little confusing that you're talking about exemptions now. We're like, well, taxes are almost due, but yeah, it's for taxes that'll be applied.
And is this exemption any different than we have currently in place?
Well, so that's, you have to adopt it each year. It attaches to each levy. So what you did for 2025 is how we prepared the resolution if you wanted to do that. So 2025, you had an exemption for over 65 and disabled of $20,000. And then the maximum residential homestead exemption, like all the other MUDs in the woodlands, of 20%. So the resolution was prepared as though you were going to adopt the same resolution, the same exemptions as 25. But if you want to have discussion to modify that, this would be the time to do it.
So this is consistent with what we did last year.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And the 20% is consistent with all the MUDs. So any discussion or want to take action?
What options do we have? Increase it, decrease it?
At your discretion.
Or leave it the same?
Down to the same, yeah.
And I guess what I've learned, keep in mind that this doesn't change your requirements, the taxation dollars. So if you change this, you're just changing the allocation, who pays. So if you raise this 20,000 to 30,000, then the people that don't get this exemption pay more. If you drop it to 10,000, the people that don't get this exemption pay less. Okay, so it's not a net saving. I mean, it's not a, you're not.
Money has to come in.
You'll put it somewhere else.
Has to come in.
Yeah.
For your budget.
So, I mean, I think in the past, we've kind of passed, we've done it a couple of years. You guys have done it 1 year. It's not that, this was a compromise, try to treat everyone fairly, a little bit of discount for some people, but not so much that it overburdens the rest of the population.
Just the clarification, let's just, for example, say we increased it, so it's going to pass cost on to the other under 65. On what form is that? Do they have exemptions that are reduced? Or they have a higher rate? How does that
They
happen?
would have we need a higher rate.
It's really in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we find a matching reduction in overall spending.
Well, I guess it makes sense just to keep what we have, monkey around with it.
And this is, I don't know, in the past, we've seen tables, but the 20 is in the ballpark for where the rest of the MUDs are.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, right in the middle. The lowest is 10 and the highest, MUD 67 that has all the new value of Hughes Lane in there at 40,000. So,
How much did you say they are?
40.
40.
Yeah, that's 5,000 over the next highest. But it also, it depends on for each district based on what your mix of property owners are, combination of commercial, how much can they absorb, the offset from the reduction from the general residential homestead and then the over 65. And then within the residential component, what percentage does each district have of over 65 that would qualify versus, doesn't. So that's why you may
Jeannie
see.
has that data?
She does.
Okay. I'm fine with approving this resolution, but I would like to see that data just to have it in future meetings.
The number of folks who would qualify.
Yeah. How many people over 65? How many people aren't over 65?
Around. I don't know if he was around when we did that. Because Murray,
I
we
thought
did
we
that last,
discussed it last time.
we did, but I don't know if, Jack, when did you get sworn in?
Let's not have been here,
2024, but I missed the meeting last year. in February.
because we
Yeah.
talked about it at length and
Yeah.
settled on these numbers.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't talk about it some more, but
So it sounds like there's not a strong push to change. So can I have Brian, I assume we just need a
Motion.
motion in a second.
but we still have we've done that impact before too. So I mean, that's all available who would get hurt and how much, and it all boils down to how much they value your property at anyway, so. That doesn't change.
Table this too, right? There's no reason that this doesn't have to be done before fall. No,
This has to be done in February.
February?
It has to be coded by the appraisal district.
Gee, so there's 921.
921 between over 65 and disabled.
And how many that are under that?
I don't have that. I will have to get that from the appraisal
Okay.
district.
There's about, what, 3,000 connections in Mud 7?
About a third.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
pretty high.
34, you have a total number of accounts, 3,410. Out of that 3,400, 920 something get over 65 and disabled.
So a little bit less than a third.
That's why, I mean, it is material to the under 65s. So,
I won't be here in February, so if we debate in February, I won't even be here. So I'm fine with the resolution to pass it.
okay, you want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
You have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of approving the resolution as shown on page 34, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Chris, I think you're on regular business now?
I am. So there is a lot of information in your packet beginning on page 36, running through 80. And so what I figured is we'll go page by page. No, I'm just kidding.
How fast, Chris?
Yeah, very fast. So you do have November and December's monthly operations report. The only thing out of the ordinary is we're still looking into the water loss with Woodlands Water, trying to identify and bring it down. I know there were some items to bring it down previously found by Woodlands Water, so we'll continue looking to see there. There is information in here. Go to the page. On page 75 through 80. That is information related to, one is the gravity conveyance optimization project with a recommendation from the River Authority. That is on page 75, and that is essentially a 200-page report that we've had done on doing some optimization of the gravity conveyance. At the end of that study, which is on the Google Drive, what we recommend is keeping everything status quo. And in March, asking the trustees to reappropriate funds from one project to another project to pay for a force main that needs to be taken care of, replaced. And the justification for replacing the force main, we do have some pictures in the original project plan on the following pages, as well as a condition assessment on the Google Drive. But that is an item we're looking for the trustees to vote on in March. On pages 79 and 80 are two budget amendments for projects that went to our December board meeting. I couldn't bring it to the MUDs because it happened after November and there were no December boards. So it needed to go to our board. So we took it to our board and we're just informing you what the reasons for the budget amendment were.
So, quick question on 75. Reallocation of funds, it says from wastewater system land acquisition project. Is that the money that was targeted for wastewater treatment plant 1? Okay, so is that a signaling that we don't think we're going to end up buying more property down there?
No, that's not a signal.
Okay. So,
I think you should still buy the land around plant 1. You may not need it today, but over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, at some point you may need that
Okay.
land for something. But at this point, this force main needs to be done more than that land because the land with wastewater plant 1, once the SFDE study is done, Corello finishes their study, you could be 6 months, a year.
Where you're.
so this is a timing prioritization. It's not that you're walking away from the other.
Correct. exactly.
Okay, okay. Somebody asked me about that and I thought, I didn't know, so,
I'm pulling away this year.
okay.
Any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
On one of these pages, I saw this, and someone thought they Marta asked this before, but wastewater treatment plant 2 had these spikes on E. coli.
Right.
And they would like spike 1 month, go down and spike another one. Why was that?
So we did look into that and see there was a couple at wastewater plant 2 and there was one earlier in wastewater plant 1. We looked into it. We did not see anything out of the ordinary. It's not a violation. It's just a spike, which shouldn't be there because chlorine kills E. coli. But various general reasons could have been, something could have blown into the sample, could have been something in the sample jar that we didn't clean out properly when we poured the sample. Something could have happened at the lab, any number of things could have occurred. But our daily max is like 384, and these were in the 23 and less range. So if we had something else open, we could pinpoint something, but we did check chlorine to see if chlorine was appropriate for the day. Chlorine was above a 2, and then the before they took the chlorine out was less than a 0.1. So we had adequate chlorination, so it wasn't actually in there. It tells me something fell, flew, or otherwise got into the sample.
Thanks.
Most of the streams we're discharging through have a higher E. coli than what we're putting in.
That is true. The key is it's still, no permit violation is the main thing.
Those pictures certainly show you how corrosive that ductile iron pipeline with concrete still eats it up like that, like it's paper thin. I guess it's just H2S and all kind of other gases that run through.
A lot of those sections, the holes were there. The only reason you didn't see the holes before was the plastic around the pipe was actually holding the dirt back. Till the paper or the plastic gave away, then you saw what you saw, so.
Kind of leads to cave-ins, but every time it stops, they come.
Yep. And once they get down, they come back up.
So I've got a question that leads into our next topic, but you've got in the middle, not in the middle, but in your area, you've got pages 60 to 62 that refer to the global amendment. Are you cover that as part of?
No, I think that is strictly for the next item. It was just included within the river authority items.
Okay. So do we have any other questions or comments for Chris or the River Authority for item 15?
One other thing to go with our monthly report, pages 90 through 93 is the Bear Branch Dam monthly operating report for your all's information.
Do you want to highlight anything off of those pages or?
Two things. On page 92, we're still waiting to hear from Congress if they've approved the 5 million additional dollars for the dam. It's passed the House. We're still waiting on the Senate. And then we've gotten information from the Corps of Engineers saying they've received our request for consideration of a feasibility on the Bear Panther Alden Branch drainage project. But they have not come back and said they're starting or yet, but we're expecting some sort of response pretty soon. And as you can see, we've been dealing with some dead trees.
Okay, so I think we want to move from item 15 to item 16.
Yes, item 16, we just put on the agendas. We heard a summary of the federal settlement back in September. It was talked about that there would be a global amendment for review. This is attached to your packet. And the rest from SDRA is that we get comments back to them by the end of February. So wanted to get it in everybody's hands. Really no expectation of getting deep into it today. Just wanted to start it out and get it in everybody's hands. And I'd like to see if we could get some comments back by the board meetings next month, so I can collate those and get them to SDRA by the end of the month next month.
Okay. So the request from Eric is review the pages along with I think the PowerPoint slides on 60 to 62 have some background. And we got comments or questions, get them into Eric. You can pass them along.
And if you have any questions, I know just reading this at its face can be a little bit confusing because you don't have any reference to the current contract or what it calls for, or what should we be interested in terms of this. if you want to reach out to me, we can kind of walk through some of those areas. I think two of the big areas that this would contemplate change wise would be, if there's an expansion to the plant in the future, the way your contract reads today is that you'd be responsible to participate in that, whether you want capacity or not, whereas this would change that a little bit to where it'd be the requesting entities that need capacity that would be more responsible for any expansion. And then it talks a little bit about what an entity would have to do if they ask for water from GRP and GRP is not able to, then it gives them some options on what they can do in terms of going elsewhere to find water and what their requirements are. So those two sections I would pay close attention to. Those are probably the highlights. There's other areas, but I mean, those
So
are.
there's not a short fuse on this or anything. I mean,
Well, so we kind of thought we had a little bit more time, but this is the first step. Get our comments in, then SJA will review those comments, identify what changes can be made. I think City of Conroe has a say in what that looks like. Once the document is final, then SJA will request the GRP members to vote on whether or not to approve the final version of that document. And they need 85% of the members to approve it.
I mean, personally, I'm not going to speak for you because I don't know how much you know about what it used to be. But I think that me reading it a couple of times and then having been around before we went to court, the changes are profound. And that's not SJA's fault. I'm just saying that the way it was and what it's doing to what we had put in place is significant. And I guess if you don't know what it used to be, it's harder to interpret how.
What we could do is dig up the current GRP contract, just so people have that. It's a little bit bigger version,
I mean,
a
that'd
bit
be,
bigger document, but maybe look at that too. And that way you can kind of.
and again, I'm not suggesting there's anything in that contract that we're not doing a legal thing here. I'm just saying, if you know what the background was and that there really is no need for a GRP now and that you can pump all you want and all those things that when you look back at what it was and what the intent was, it's a profound difference. So that'd be good to get anybody interested in a copy of the agreement.
So is it already on the Google Drive or the River Authority up on their website?
It is, but we can kind of pull it back up to the surface,
Send a link out to us and
something like that.
That's my comment.
no need to, unless there's a specific request to kill more trees and print out copies.
Okay, we'll just send a link out. Yep.
Send a link out. I guess for clarity, either River Authority or Eric, you may want to make clear to folks the forward path is 85% of the GRP can approve this and we proceed. If 85% do not approve this, Conroe and the River Authority proceed with, I guess, most of this as a separate side agreement, just with the city of Conroe.
Right. Yeah.
So there's
It's up to 80%.
there's a couple clauses that will not be, they can now or will not implement separately with Conroe. But the majority of this amendment will be implemented. And we'd have a situation where Conroe has one agreement.
Right.
And Woodlands has another agreement. Okay, so I think we need to think about, are we comfortable with that and pros and cons of that?
Thank you.
Brian, do you want to add any summary points from your
I think
comments?
you covered it.
Okay. So takeaway from us is any comments back to Eric by the next meeting? And Ed, I think you just, item 17, Eric, do you have more than that to add to it? Ed already said, or?
Well, that's the actual drainage project. That's still with the Corps of Engineers. So, I think it was on hold a little bit while the government was shut down. So, we haven't heard back, what their evaluation is, but once we do, we'll kind of know what the next steps are.
It's 18th, I believe.
Yes, that's a sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. We do have pay estimate number 4, and this is actually, I think, the first pay estimate that Mud 7 had some work done in it. Total pay estimate is $110,960, of which $61,370 is work related to Mud 7. So I'll need, and that is, again, that's the year 2 or phase 2 of the sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. That is a partner project amongst 9 of the 10 MUDs. And we're in phase 2 of that. So this is with the progress past, but they just happen to be doing the work in MUD 7 this month. You have about $167,000 roughly dollars. That's your portion of the overall 1.4 million. But this month, there's the 61,370. So I'll need much to authorize payment in for your share, 61,370.
This is a Spring Creek thing, or is this?
Sanitary sewer, it's throughout MUD 7, the sanitary sewer piping.
I'm sorry, Eric, where do we see the MUD 7 portion?
25.
On 5? Okay. Well, that doesn't give us the number. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, it's on page, the whole summary is on 99, 98, 97, 96.
Oh, there they are. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so ours is on 97.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, okay. So you're asking for approval to pay the 64,600?
Well, that is prior to retainage. So we take retainage out before we final the pay estimate. So that was the total work done. But then we remove, I think it's 5% for retainage. So the net for you is 61,370.
This is work that's been done in MUD 7. We've got a bill for it. I have a motion that we receive paying it. Did I have a motion?
Yeah, that's a,
Oh, okay. Sorry. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I'd add, Eric, that one of these is right in my neighborhood, and I was, it's right near a bike path. And I thought they did a great job of being extra safe at that turn there. So they had all the right equipment and glasses and hats and all the things they're supposed to have. And I thought, because a lot of times you see guys working construction, they got no glasses on, no ear protection. I thought that they did a good job the whole couple of days that it took to do that manfully.
Ryan, anything from,
Just election stuff, so.
okay, which are other items or?
Yeah, the item number 20 is to call the election, but as you know, the filing period started last week. The applications are available for y'all, either in paper form that Shelley has, or you can get them online. They're posted on the district's website. Let's see, Brad, Paul, Jack, y'all are up this cycle. Once we hit that deadline of February the 13th, we'll see which districts have contested elections and don't, and then move forward with the drawing for the order on the ballot and what have you. As in the last several cycles, we will be going joint again with Montgomery County. So they'll handle all the details of polling locations and election workers and what have you. So good to be a partner with them again.
Your knowledge, are there any other elections being held that day? It's my understanding that Senate District 4, the remainder of that term was going to be held that day. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't know what all elections will ultimately be called. Yeah, we usually will get that afterwards because the county will allocate the cost of the election pro rata based on the participants.
There's gonna be a run, I'm guessing there's gonna be at least one runoff election too, so there's gonna be.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, is that on
Yeah.
is that on the actual May uniform election date or a different date?
And
I guess it's a different day, which I don't know why the county wants to run multiple elections in a short time. It's a lot of work.
the state runoff,
That's different.
that's a different, that's the,
Yeah, usually it's right before Memorial Day, if I
Yeah.
recall, but it just seems silly for the county to do that.
So that's only general items I have under elections, but happy to answer questions if you have them.
so your item 20 doesn't require any action.
Item 19 does not. Item 20, the supplemental agenda does require action to adopt the order calling the election.
Okay. So you want to talk to us about that?
So the order's been prepared to call the director election for the three incumbents and motion to adopt the order calling the election to be held jointly with the county.
So should I do it still or on the ballot? Should I move to call the election?
We need a motion, yes.
Yeah, I make a motion to call the election.
We have a
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. And if I vote no, I still have to run.
That's a personal choice.
I
This
can't
facilitates
put
you
off
running.
The election.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so
Thank you. That's all I have. God bless you.
Thank Harry or Kim, you want to do GM report, operations report?
Just want to point out that we had the AWD conference going on this weekend, Friday night and mostly Saturday. So that'll be here in Houston. A few of us will be going to that. You started seeing last week some of the heavier clearing on some of the ditches in Mud 7. So we started repairing some of the piping back in October, and that continues on. We're working through those level 3 did those pipe problems, and now we've started some of the heavier clearing as of last week, and we started in Mud 7. So you should see that. Just want to let you know that when we're going into new areas, we are sending notice to those customers in advance just to let them know that we're going to be in the area. So I know that some of that equipment is a little bit loud. We're chipping some of it. We have chainsaws, things like that, especially on the clearing. But we went out and looked at their initial work just as they got started last week. Things look good. Really opening up some of those ditches so we can actually get down them with vehicles. So it's looking good so far. Did want to point out to you that we received a violation from TCEQ on our lead and copper sampling. We do that, I believe every 3 years. And so 18, 21, 24, and 24, we were notified last year that there was a violation. It has to do with, so when we do this, in Mud 7 in particular, we have 30 samples that we must present to them. They have to be from specific addresses on the approved list from TCEQ. And so we do that. And sometimes samples get rejected. If we're notified, we can go pick up another sample from the approved address list and resubmit, and it's no big deal. In this case, there was one that was rejected, and we were notified after the deadline and we're not able to get it in. So in their mind, that's a violation. The reason that it was rejected was it was an address that was 2 doors down from the approved address. So we did submit 30 samples, but one of them was from, and we've looked back, the list was from 2018 and utilized in 21 and then 24. We don't know where, it looks like it was correct on 18 and somewhere between 21 and 24, that address changed on the list that we were using. So we've changed some internal processes to make sure that doesn't happen again. The repercussion or the now thing that we have to do is notify the public that there was a violation. We have some standard language that we have to use. We're going to modify that or use that language and add to it, and plan to put that in the CCR report that comes out in the summer.
which is where you already talk to your customers about your water quality. So we'll put that blurb in there. So needed to present that to you and just let you know that it had occurred.
When you put that information out, how much level of detail do you provide? What you provided us, or is it just statement and that's it?
We have to use their language and our frustration is that language sounds really bad. Like the water is, we're not sure if your
Because you
water.
don't get to talk about the quality that
Right,
right
so,
down the street did was negative.
right, so what we have to say is what they say, and we can add to that to soften what that says, because we did take 30 samples. It just, the address, the water was safe all along. There was no issue with all 30 samples from a water quality standpoint. It wasn't the approved address on that, that one address on that list, so.
Yeah, that should be.
Yeah, so
So can you bring us before it hits the public, we can look at it and make sure we understand, can
I think the
explain.
language is important, obviously.
it is. I don't want to concern someone for no reason, but we have to use the language, at least that's starting
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
that the TCEQ drafts for us. So. That's all I had for the general manager's report. John, communications?
You have a communications report, page 117. Wanted to start out by noting we've added some capacity to the communications department. So Stephanie Williams, who's been with us for the past 7 or so months as a social media specialist, has gone from 20 hours a week to 40, starting today. So excited about what we can do with that. The other thing I want to zero in on this report here was your annual update. So you have last year's update in front of you for reference. If you decide to do this again, I think we can follow the same process as before. Work with, I think one person as a point person to get the changes. Of course, all directors should comment on ideas, changes to the report, and then we can consolidate all those comments, get them back to you virtually, and then get it in a form where you can approve that at February's meeting. And then once approved, we can then mail that out with February bill around March 1. So last year cost you a little over $1,000 for printing costs for the 2-pager. It might be slightly more than that this year. We did also send that out via email and push it out through social media and other channels too. And then it lives year round on the website, of course. So if that is something you'd like to pursue again this year, I just need a volunteer.
You have, who did it last year?
I think Marta did it.
It was Marta. It was Marta. And she's not here, so. There you go.
I guess she's gonna do it again.
There you go.
But I think we as a group, we want to go ahead and do this.
Oh, yeah.
So now that we have a volunteer that wants to work with John on the 1-pager.
I'm happy to.
All right, it's gonna be fun.
I'm open to sharing.
So if you guys want to work and then get us something via email that we can give you any feedback on prior to February, then we approve in February. Is that the plan?
I think that's the plan.
Okay.
Okay.
You got a template.
Yeah.
Just update the template and,
Update the
I mean, we might spend a minute brainstorming to help Emily out. And what, if we look back on last year, any thoughts on things that we really want to highlight? I mean, to me, the drainage and the cleaning of the waterways is a big thing.
After your last comments, to just make this irrelevant. We can still make it.
Anything else that people think about that should be?
I think we can certainly feed it to Emily if we have thoughts on this.
I think the condition-based assessments that you're doing are of interest to a lot of people.
We probably want to feed them to Eric though, right?
Is that-
So we don't, well, feed them to John. So we don't want to all three be sending inlay comments. Can we do that? Isn't that a walking quorum?
You're not talking,
Talking about Paul and I and Marta.
And then, yeah. Tell us how we should do this.
I think your instinct is right. Have them go to Erica and you can get them to that.
okay.
Emily.
Do you want them or should I take them and packet them for you?
Send them to John.
Yeah.
It'll go faster.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emily, I didn't know that.
Just having Portland's water in the loop.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you are all.
So maybe by the 1st of February, and we want to have this.
I think that's a,
That way we can work.
yeah,
from
a
there.
good window there. So I will email you, each of you directly, this form.
Last year's.
So you have it electronically as well. And then you can redline it however, and remember, you can also find it online too, but I'll send it to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Volunteer.
Either right now or the next item.
No, I was actually going, I'm amazed at how fast we're moving.
Yeah.
So I was going to make a comment on page 115.
Oh.
We kind of missed that. To me, this is pretty significant or meaningful when you look at the average annual usage. I guess one question, is this on a calendar year or fiscal year? Not that it makes a lot of difference, but do we know?
Those are calendars,
Calendar years?
the bottom graph.
Yeah, the bottom graph.
Yes, calendar.
Yeah.
I put it in every January
Okay.
since we have a whole year.
So you can tell, downward trend, but really starting in, I don't know, what, 14, kind of begin to line down, but at a much lower level than we were back in the early 2000s. I think probably,
That was a very large push, by this agency's conservation group, a lot of emphasis on when to water and how much to water and how bad water and how you didn't need water in the winter and things like that. I didn't know this had happened that drastically, but there was a lot of effort and we were much higher back.
Find irrigation plan.
Yeah,
was first
exactly.
implemented. I think
and the smart water alerts, if you got
Yeah,
a leaky toilet, you get
That's
a
gonna
notice.
help
You get,
too, yeah.
and the demographics maybe have changed somewhat and the technology has changed. People put in new
That's
toilets.
for sure.
But,
Well, and you use incentives, discounts on your bill for putting in things like the meters or the rain gauges and things that you can do. And, free inspections of irrigation systems. There were a lot of tricks they were working with.
and this comes into play when you look at what our future demand will be both for wastewater and tap water. But
Very good.
that is a great graphic. I appreciate you putting it in. And it's
Yeah,
nice.
I was
that-
impressed with
I mean, you can see, you can tell when the 2011 drought was. You can tell. So it's kind of, you got to overlay on this, the rainfall.
Right.
But
And what's interesting is last year was not a wet year. And it didn't shoot back up, which is interesting.
right. Okay. Water loss. Is that item 22? Is that something we need to?
Yeah, that's an annual report that we have to submit. It's due March 1, so we just need authorization to prepare that for you and submit that.
The annual event? We'll get a copy of whatever it says. We have a motion?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Eric, you're good to go.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. 121 to 125 as a trustee, and Eric, I might let you start and then
So
let me warn you guys, this was the longest trustee meeting I'd ever attended.
I wondered about, that's why I took 2 or 3 pages.
yeah, so one, which took up a good bit of that, was talking about the global amendment. So that was one. Another that was relatively short was we modified there's a resolution in place that says that, at the end of the budget year, after the audit's done, that we look at our bottom line. And if we have more or less than 1 to 2 months of reserve in WWA's accounts, we either, if we're below 1, we have a cash call that gets us to 1.5. If we're above 2, we distribute the money back to the MUDs. And how we do that has been under question the last couple of years. We re-looked at and did some scenarios to identify that there was some slight changes in how we calculate that. It was based off of SFDUEs instead of each of the districts' equity position, which is created out of, the previous year's financials. So if you, for instance, pay us to do a bunch of dirt work or ditch work the year prior, then your buy-in, so to speak, or your equity position is going to be based on the amount of work that we do. Whereas if you don't do much, then your equity position will be lower. Well, that's calculated in the audit every year, but the way that this was calculating was based just on flat SFDUEs. So we modified that. That was approved by the trustees as well. The big thing, and the last big thing that we talked about was the trustees gave me direction to represent at the GRP meeting, which happened today at lunch, and the proposal that was on the board. So the GRP had not met since October, and there'd been some changes in what we had last heard and what we recommended at that time as it relates to what to do with the Conroe money that we knew of as of October. And so there was a plan going forward as of October, and some circumstances changed that in December. So we were offered a new couple options to consider today, which we knew about going in. So that's why I was able to communicate that with the trustees last week. And the two options were to utilize the settlement monies to go towards defeasance of bonds, existing bonds, and either put a portion of that into the R&R fund for future O&M projects, or to not put 500,000. And so the option was take a 13-cent reduction or take an 11-cent reduction and put $500,000 in the R&R fund. So trustees gave me direction on the second option, 11 and 500, and the GRP committee voted 4-0 in favor of that option. I made the motion, passed. So that's the direction we're going.
That's on page 122, if you're looking for the real numbers.
And that, my understanding, that rate reduction will go into effect February 1. Is that still?
As long as the board approves everything,
Yeah.
it'll be February 1st.
Yeah.
That meeting is Thursday.
Right.
Yes.
So we'll know by the end of the week. It would be highly unusual for the board not to follow through a recommendation from the review committee.
There's no concern they won't approve it, but it just.
Formality.
Yeah.
There also was a little bit of talk about, so do we immediately pass that, whatever result that was? Now we know 11 cents. Do we immediately pass that through to the customers, or which you normally have, at least for the surface water fee? And what we talked about was on the bill, go ahead and reducing it by that amount on that line item, but then adding it back in. So it's a net even while we work out some details on how much money we're going to need per district for the, at least the first tranche of the water renewal project, which is estimated to be right around 32 million or so in that first round to do town center. I think it has town center and the engineering for the next project is what that would include. So we're just looking at that, and the financial advisor is going to be working on some performance to kind of see what that looks like, to see if one, what does 32 million look like spread across the 10 MUDs in terms of a wholesale rate, and is that 11 cents enough or not to cover it? So that kind of will give us some points to look at.
When do you anticipate having that data?
Hopefully in the next few weeks. I know they're he's working on that right now. So we should be able to get some insight into that and then talk further about it at the February meetings.
I just did, I mean, I don't know whether anybody else has done any back envelope numbers, but you know, you're basically talking about impacting what we reflect to in our bill, surface water conversion fee, going from 292 down 11 cents. Okay, so that's a little less than 5% reduction, and that's 5% on top of. That's not 5% on the total bill. That's 5% on one portion of the bill. I looked at my bill. It was going to save me 99 cents last month.
What portion is that? Which portion does it cover? Wastewater?
No, it's the surface water conversion fee. So if you, yeah, so yeah. So if you look at your bill, surface water conversion fee is on the back. It's $2.92 per 1,000 gallons.
Right.
And 11 cents is coming off of that $2.92. And then if you look at your bill, there's a surface water conversion fee, which is your rate. For me last month, it was 6,000 gallons. And so 6,000, my base fee was 6,000 times 292, which comes out to $17.52. 6 times 11 cents was that, well, on this bill, it was actually 66 cents. But on a typical bill, it would have been about 99 cents for me. So, I mean, I think we want to be transparent and reflect the fact that the water authority has reduced that fee. But this isn't, I mean, nobody's gonna go buy pizza on this fee savings. Okay.
And one of the things that we're concerned with is, you know, if there is any increase, well, there will likely be an increase for the wholesale water rate. If we drop the 11 cents now and then find out that it's 11 cents or 15 cents or whatever it is, you know, once the evaluation is done, we don't want to kind of do this to the water bill, to the rates. So keeping this steady changes nothing. It just keeps the bill steady as we work through the numbers on the rest, and then we can, you know, go from there.
Brad's describing doesn't sound like much of a dip.
Right.
People aren't going to see hardly anything. You might have to see math, but I believe it.
So, but I mean,
I think it's important for the community to see, as they read in the paper, that there's a reduction, that they see that on their bill, even though there might be a corresponding, you know, water infrastructure or infrastructure renewal line item that equals that number. That way they see the transparency.
what's tied to this though, is that because it's not a, you know, very significant cost reduction, is also not going to be a significant source of funds for infrastructure work. So, you know, anyway, transparency is our guiding principle for all this. But, so you'll bring some numbers back to us in February and we can decide what we want to do. Is that something that you can you implement that fast enough so it'll be in the March bill?
I believe I can.
Okay.
Have an item on there to amend the rates to implement the reduction and then the simultaneous implementation of the water, you know, renewal fee or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Water infrastructure renewal fee.
Yeah, we need to be careful with the commentary that they don't think that 11 cents is all it's going to cost to do our infrastructure. So like, well, you hit me with 11-cent fee. Why are you now asking me for $2?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
let's think about how we word that.
Yeah.
And when they, you know, when they actually see the impact on the bill, you know, it's $1 a month. That doesn't go far for infrastructure.
Well, $1 a month times 34,000, that's 12 months. That's a. Say.
Yeah.
That's a.
Yeah.
590. And so if we're, that's not a one-to-one to pay for 32 million, that's paying for the debt service, which is going to be less.
Yeah, bring the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Anything else in the trustee meeting you wanted to highlight?
Those were I think those were the big items.
I guess from a GRP standpoint, you might mention continued interest in more surface water consumption within the county.
Yes, well, at the meeting today, certainly there's some additional MUDs east of Montgomery, east of 45 that are requesting additional capacities in the system. And so what we saw today would be basically a net summer month max that would bring the requested volumes that would bring the plant to about 29 million or 29 MGD to the plant in the summer months. So its capacity is 30 MGD without any modifications right now. So now in the winter months, I think it was at 16 and a half. So what's been talked about is, taking the winter months to having enough additional players involved to even push that up. So it's more possibly uniform across the year, but that's more to come on that as I understand it. So, and I think, the Woodlands directors in general have asked me unofficially, what is our ask? We're at 50% surface water right now. We are waiting on a evaluation that identified, where our trigger or inflection point is in terms of disinfection byproducts. But I think we're gonna look at putting in a request to. My understanding is we can get to 55 without having 55% surface water without having any infrastructure repercussions. So I don't see any harm in increasing that number. So, and we may be able to go even higher, but what we're hearing is if we go higher than, 60, 65, then you start having to do a little bit more treatment at the water plants, which I just don't have the numbers yet to see if that's significant or not. And if it's worth going to, a higher percentage or not.
So the new ones is that the MUD 89 and
No, it's 89, 88, 89 and Scud were already in.
they've got it. They just have to build pipe now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, now there's 94, 99.
Oh,
And there's a couple others, I guess, that are being talked about that now that there's some synergy over there, it may make sense for them to all get together on that pipeline.
head toward 99.
WCID 1, 94 and 99.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about, well, I knew 99, 89. Huh.
I get it right?
All right. He pays attention.
Okay, let's move on. Brian, anything on?
No closed session.
Okay, so that takes care of 25. Anything new we want to have or any items for future agenda? I think we covered a couple that you'll bring back. Anybody want to add for February? Jack, you will be gone.
I will be gone.
Hopefully Marta will be back.
Give me a note.
Anybody else would like to be here in February?
I should be here.
Okay, with that, I will close the meeting. 5:33.